Alright, as far as shelf life and ease of preparation, again, I wouldn't give these more than a year or two shelf life. That's why I put the date or the month and year that I bought it, and just keep them rotating too. The container is kind of a magazine consistency of like magazine paper. It is 3 mils thick on each side, or 3/1000ths of an inch, so about the thickness of a piece of paper. You will need your own pot. As far as preparation, you're going to have to boil water and put it in the boiling water and let it simmer for 7 minutes. So however long it takes you to boil water plus 7 minutes, and pretty flimsy. But I've had these; they're good. They fill the hole, and they're quite tasty, honestly. The other thing you want to consider about these is they're mostly carbohydrates. A little bit of protein, not much. They're mostly rices and pastas, and as I mentioned before, they're really marketed as side dishes. But in an emergency situation, if it's this or nothing, I would rather eat this. Let's see, it says and a lot of sodium. 48 grams in carbs, 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of sugar, 6 grams of protein, surprisingly. So there is some protein in here. The Wise product. The packaging is really nice, and I watched a video where a guy was comparing a lot of these types of packaging, and it has a Ziploc resealable package, which is really nice if you're going to try to prepare the food inside the bag. Otherwise, if it doesn't have a seal, you're probably better off just using your own pot to prepare the dish in, and not try to keep it in the bag, because it's going to be hard to reseal. It is also a 3 mil poly, or it is a 3 mil poly. This is 3/1000ths of an inch thick, but it's pretty rugged plastic. It takes 12 to 15 minutes in the bag after you boil water. So boil water, put it in here, let it sit for 12 to 15 minutes. So that's the preparation time. Is that a factor? I don't know. It depends on your emergency situation. It's definitely not an instant meal, but the time it takes you to boil water in 15 minutes could be up to 30 minutes. I think I boiled water in about 8 minutes. So that's that. Shelf life, they claim the shelf life is up to 7 years, and you can even get grab and go buckets of just the entrees. Let's see, and they have a bucket for $198, and by the calorie count it comes out to about $5.02 per 1,000 calories. Otherwise, this is $8.56 per 1,000 calories. And then they also have a 60 serving or 60 packet bucket. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, it for $92, a $92 bucket, and that comes to $4.66 a 1,000 calories, which is interesting because the smaller bucket is actually less per calorie than the bigger bucket, which you would think the bigger bucket would be a better value, but not necessarily. The Mountain House packaging is also a 3 mil plastic, but I measured them and they're the same thickness, but it just feels thicker. I've had the Mountain Houses before, and we did keep it in we did put the boiling water in there and let it sit. But I've watched other videos, and it says you boil the water and you leave it in there for 8 to 9 minutes for preparation time. But I've seen videos where people have left it in there for 15 minutes, and I think I had the chili, and I had to leave it in there almost for like 20 minutes to get everything to reconstitute. And it does stay hot for a long time, I have to say that. this bag, whatever it is, does a good job at keeping the heat inside, but they are bland. But this particular one is $12.17 in the form that I bought it, per 1,000 calories. Again, what are you after? Are you after just getting calories in your body, or are you after good taste? Again, I don't have a problem per se with the taste of Mountain House, especially you're talking about an emergency situation. Mountain House is good as any. So you just have to shop around and get the best value for your dollar and what you're after and what you're, are you trying to recreate dinners that you had before an emergency, or are you just after filling the hole? Anyway, that's the Mountain House. And the final evaluation, as far as the final product I'm evaluating as far as cost per calories and packaging and all that, is the Thrive. Now it is also 3 mil or 3,000ths per side polymer plastic, and it is pretty rugged. I forgot to mention the shelf life of that last, the Mountain House, but it's 7 years. This, the Thrive, claims it is 10 years shelf life, but if you look on the packaging, it's the year 2014 this video is being made, and it says Best Buy 2019. So it doesn't say expires in 2019, but you would think that if they're advertising 10-year shelf life, it should be 2024. Best Buy 2024. But anyway, price per 1,000 calories is $12.91, and I didn't really research any other variety packs. I don't know if you can get it for cheaper than that or not. And again, it was really hard to get it down to a uniform cost that I can compare amongst the 4 types of emergency type freeze-dried foods that I purchased. But I'm not saying one is any better than the other. I've eaten 3 of the 4. The only one I haven't eaten is the Wise, and I've seen reviews on it on YouTube, and everybody seems to like it just fine for what it is. So it's just a matter of what are you paying for. Oh, and yeah, you have to definitely cook this in your own pot, which is not a big deal. Hopefully in an emergency situation you still have access to cooking utensils and heat source and stuff like that. So those are the 4 I evaluated. Now, I did a little more research to kind of tie in my thoughts about getting the Knorr as a form of emergency food. There's one bucket that you can buy on Amazon. It's from Augustin Farms, and it's a 16,400 calorie bucket. The funny thing is, they sell it for $22.45, but the shipping is $24.49. So it costs more to ship it than it is for the product. So it's, obviously some kind of gimmick. I saw a review where a guy paid $40 at Costco or something like that for it. I can't remember where he bought it. But the thing you have to watch there with those buckets, with all different kinds, even Wise buckets, or there was another Arc. Steve at Safe Arms Review did a review on Chef's Banquet bucket of food, and yes, they're telling you the servings in the bucket, but you have to be careful in that what they're calling a serving could be only 200 and something calories. They don't tell you how many calories, they tell you how many servings, but the servings are arbitrary because they decide what the serving size is. Plus, some of the bags have more than 2 or 4 servings. There's like a 6 servings. It's really bizarre. Some of them are 6 servings, some of them are 8 servings, some of them are 2 servings. So the serving per containers are even kind of oddball quantities. They're not all the same. So, you know, at least with the Y's, you know, there's 2 servings in a container, and you make 2 servings at a time. It's a little more expensive, a little more packaging, but for emergency uses, I think it's more practical. Unless you have a big family, then the 8, 6, 5 serving packets are probably a little more cost effective to buy. But again, if you're buying it truly for just emergency foods, which those buckets are for emergency food, then those oddball size containers are probably not a big deal. Anyway, that Augustin Farms 16,000 calorie bucket comes out to about $2.86 per 1,000 calories. Now, you can get the Mountain House 11 cases for about $2.16 per 1,000 calories. So I think I would rather go with the Mountain House in that instance than the Augustin Farms, unless you can get a cheaper price. And you have to, here's where the Nor comes in. You have to watch it, because a lot of those buckets, the majority of what you're getting in those buckets is pasta and rice. And I would rather spend my money or save my money buying that bucket and just buying these and rotating through these. Now, again, I'm not trying to store up for Armageddon. My situation is different in that I'm just setting food aside for, you know, a bad winter storm, power outages or whatever. So I don't need a year's worth of food. I need at most, realistically, a month's worth of food. I'd like to get 3 months worth of food. But again, I'm not trying to store up a year's worth of food. So my situation's different. But I just wanted to kind of go over what some of these costs might be, whether it, you know, whatever's in your price range. And it's very doable. Like I said, I did all this over a course of 2 to 3 months. I didn't buy it all at once. It can get expensive. It is expensive, but you know, it's a big expense all at once. So, as my friend West Texas Prepper says, do what you can, what you have, where you are, something to that effect. Just do a little bit at a time. You know, instead of going out to eat, put that money in a jar, and then when you have enough to buy one of these packets, one of these variety packs, get one, see if you like it. Watch some reviews online. Personally, I would buy any of the ones again. I would recommend any of the packages that I bought here to anybody. No, I'm not getting paid by any of these people, but I also recommend don't lock yourself down to any one particular variety, because if you have to eat this stuff for a prolonged period of time, you kind of want a little bit of variety. You don't want it, you know, you can survive on it, but you don't have to suffer any more than you have to. So anyway, I hope that helped somebody making, you know, looking into some food storage, some emergency preparations, and help you make a decision on what's best for you. That's all I got. Got any questions? Leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer best I can, and that's it. Take care. Bye.